Hello, I'm Minister Dove, and this is Freedom Wings Ministries. I'm the founder of Freedom Wings Ministries, and tonight we have Genesis chapter 14 in the King James Version. I'm going back to the King James Version because it's a very globally recognized Bible that you can get at Walmart, and you can just read along with me. You know, if you don't have a Bible, but most people have Bibles. But anyway, you can get the King James Version at Walmart, and it's KJV. If you see KJV, that means King James Version. But anyway, let's read Genesis chapter 14. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arauch, king of Elasah, Chedor Elomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. So we're talking about kings of nations, and please, I'm pronouncing them as best I can as they're broken up in the Bible. If you get your own Bible, you can see the different names, but don't think of the names as having to be vitally important. Think of the story around the names. Just think of the names as general families, tribes, populations, people living together, and, different kings, different deities. Well, not deities, because that not deities, but different structures throughout society, different tribes. Tribes is the word I'm looking for. But anyway, different tribes. So number 2 in chapter 14, that these made war with Bara, king of Sodom, and with Barashi, king of Gomorrah, Shanab, king of Admah, and Shem-eber, king of Zobam, and the king of Bela, which is Zorah. All these were joined together in the valley of Sidon, which is the Salt Sea. So the Salt Sea, so sailors coming together. Sailors, a tribe of sailors coming together. Maybe the first ever that we see, because this is Genesis, and we're a new population. We're forming after the flood. So this is a whole new population. So the Salt Sea. So we have the first, possibly our first form of sailors, and a navy, because these are tribes that are fighting at war. So let's see. Number 3, all these were joined together in the valley of what I just read, Siddim, which is in the Salt Sea. All right. Number 4, 12 years they served Chedor Laomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. So these were servants that were sailors that were fighting for this particular king that they had. And it's so many different names in this. We're just going to take it in strides. But, nobody's perfect. I can't, I'm not going to say I'm doing a perfect lesson here. But, we just take it in strides and think of armies in the wilderness and sailors in the sea. Because we're going to discuss wilderness pretty soon. Actually, so number 4, 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. So number 5 was where I need to start. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Raphaims in the Ashtaroth, Camerna, and sorry, I'm filming on my phone, and something just popped up, so I looked at it, and hopefully it didn't come up on the screen. I'll review the tape. But anyway, I just got a little message that popped up. So we'll go back to number 5. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims and the Ashtaroth, Carnaim, and Zuzims, and Ham, and the Emins in Sheva, Ker Elatham, and the Horites in their Mount Sarah, unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to the In Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwell in the Hezezon Timar. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zebom, and the king of Bela, the same is Zorah. And they joined battle with them in the valley of Siddim. In the valley of Siddim, they joined in battle. So we have battles going on here now. And it's over our general livelihoods, I guess. Battles over our general livelihoods goes back to Genesis and the beginning of time as us as a civilization. So yes, that's a good way to look at this. The beginning of time as us as a civilization. And there's battles over property and battles over generations in charge of different territories, which was the big battle of property. But anyway, so I'm just speaking my thoughts. But anyway, where do we leave off? Okay, so I'm going to start off with number 9. With Chedorlaomer, the king of Elmah, and with Teldah, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Richnoch, king of Elisah, 4 kings with 5. 4 kings with 5. So kings with maybe 5 servants. It just says 4 kings with 5. So, yeah, 4 kings taking over the territories with 5 servants. Or 5 different, maybe 5 different tribes of soldiers. It just says 4 kings of 5. So we think that can mean 5 servants or 5 units of an army tribe. So they're in battle. They're at war. We started with the sea. Now we're moving into the wilderness around the sea. And so they're taking society and they're fighting. Society is at war. Pretty much sum it up simply. Society within this time frame is at war with these kings and with these servants and with these different tribes. And we saw the Salt Sea and then the wilderness around the Salt Sea. So we're in the wilderness around the Salt Sea. And so number 10. And the valley of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountains. They that remained fled to the mountains. So we have slime pits and a wilderness valley, and they are getting sunken in these slime pits, and they move out away the ones that survive into the mountains. They move out away the ones that survive into the mountains. So, number 11, and they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. So they capture Lot. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Marah, the Amorites, brother of Eshcol and brother of Anar, and these were confederate with Abram. Now Lot is Abram's brother. So Lot got captured. So someone escapes and tells Abram that his brother got captured. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants born in his own house, 318, and persuaded them unto Dan. So he's arming his servants to help with succeeding in rectifying the situation that his brother got captured. Number 15, and he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them, and persuaded them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people, and the women also, and the people. So he rescues Lot, he gets the women, he gets the people, and all his servants, and he brings back the goods too. So, yay. One for Abram. And the king of Sodom went out and met him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him at the valley of Sheva, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. The priest of the Most High God. So we're seeing a church starting to come together. The priest of the Most High God. So they're worshiping God, and they have this new priest, and it's all they need to worship God and follow this priest because of the war and all the bad things, but they're also celebrating too because they have they won, they got Lot back, and they got their goods and their people and all their servants and everything. So they're celebrating with being instructed under this priest. They're celebrating with being instructed under this priest. That's the way I see it anyway. And number 19, and he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, professor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. So yes, they're celebrating with this high priest, in God's family. They've come together as God's family, and they're celebrating with this high priest. Number 22, and Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have left up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the professor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shulachet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portions of the men which went with me, Anar, Eshcol, and Mare, let them take their portion. Let them take their portion. So, sorry, I need a haircut. Yeah, it's getting long. But anyway, I'm digressing, of course. So we see family coming together and worshiping God for the battles that they won. They got Lot and the goods and everything back. And it started with a battle at the Salt Sea and progressed into the wilderness. And then it came out that Lot got captured. And so Abram, Lot's brother, after a servant had snuck away and got out to freedom to tell Abram that his brother got captured. Abram goes after his brother and saves his brother, gets his servants, gets the goods, gets the supplies. And so they carry on with celebrating underneath this high priest the mightiness of God. They celebrate the mightiness of God underneath this high priest. Nice story. Think of it as a story. And if you can get your hands on the King James Bible, read through Genesis chapter 14 that I just read and look at the different names. The names, I pronounced them as best I could, but they're just names. If you can think of them as tribe families and look at the story itself, you'll do all right. Many blessings, my friends. Many blessings.